2 days after the attacks, I posted my thoughts in the form of an essay titled Understanding Oil on the band's website. Terror is not a spontaneous human action without credence, I wrote. People just don't hijack planes and commit harakiri without any weight of thought to the action. In the subsequent paragraphs, I dove deep into U.S. foreign policy, particularly the steep price of our oil consumption. I explained that the 9/11 attacks were a reaction to existing injustices around the world, generally unseen to most Americans. There was a long, sordid history to consider. The U.S. government had secured oil concessions from Turkey through secret deals after World War I in return for ignoring the Armenian genocide, which was perpetrated by the Turks. It had also overthrown a democratically elected leader in Iran and replaced him with a king in order to get access to that country's resources. The American government even allied with both Saddam Hussein and the Taliban when it suited their perceived interests. The sanctions in Iraq were contributing to mass suffering there because they usually hurt the poor disproportionately. The closer you look, the less shocking the 9/11 attacks actually were. I could already sense the gathering thirst for vengeance throughout the country and was worried about the consequences of acting on it. If we carry out bombings in Afghanistan or elsewhere to appease public demand and very likely kill innocent civilians along the way, I wrote, we'll be creating many more martyrs going to their deaths in retaliation against the retaliation. Instead, I suggested a multilateral approach, one that would bring the terrorists responsible to international justice. Most everything in that essay would be echoed by many others in the months and years to come. A lot of it has become conventional wisdom now. But at the time it was posted, 2 days after 9/11, it did not go over well. At all. The way a lot of people viewed it was like this. The whole nation is in shock and mourning, and the lead singer of one of the most popular bands in the country is suggesting that we might have brought this upon ourselves, that it's our fault. That's an overly reductive way to interpret what I was saying, but I get it. This was the pre-social media era, so the backlash didn't come as the all-consuming digital tidal wave you might expect to get today, but it came all the same. I was condemned in newspapers, on music websites, and all over the radio, including by Howard Stern, who was arguably the country's most popular and influential media personality in those days. Our record label insisted that we take the essay down off our website, and for the first and only time in my life, I acquiesced to such a request. The pressure was that intense. Notably, a lot of the anger at me and at the band had a xenophobic tinge. We were pillarized as immigrants from the Middle East who had the nerves to criticize the country that had taken us in and given us opportunities. Although Armenia is not actually in the Middle East, no one was getting hung up splitting geographical hairs. The night before I got on the phone for Howard's show, I had a meeting with my bandmates at that same hotel. They weren't much happier with me than everyone else was. They had all dreamed of what we'd just achieved, a #1 album, and that success was being drowned out by death threats and accusations that we were all traitors. This was the band's big moment, and my essay was threatening to ruin it for all of us. At that meeting, the first thing our guitarist Darren said to me was, "Are you trying to get us killed?" I remember telling him that what I wrote was the truth, that it was all verifiable. Who cares that it's the truth? Now it was John, our drummer, going at me. He later compared it to giving a eulogy at a funeral and calling the dead guy an asshole in front of his grieving family and friends. It may be the truth, but it's not a very smart or sensitive thing to do. It's not a good time to talk about this, he said. I was very apologetic to the guys. I had naively thought that in a democracy, you could always tell the truth. Going on Stern's radio show the morning that our tour was kicking off was seen as necessary damage control. I knew my job was to go on the air and calm everyone down. Rick Rubin, who'd produced both of our first 2 albums and was also the head of our record label, knew Stern and had helped set up the call. He also gave me some key advice. Don't try to challenge Howard. It won't go over well if you do. Just try to pivot him into talking about government abuses and things like that. He understands that the U.S. government has done some bad shit in